It is important to understand that when we experience, we understand that any archetype have, of course, the light part and the shadow part, and also this part, the shadow part, resonate with our personal history. So it is important that the relationship with the archetypes help us to cleaning up our personal history. Because to get the quality of the Mother Earth, we need to clean our personal history that stay in the middle and don't allow to the qualities to pervade ourselves and to enter. So this is one of the aspects of transpersonal and integral. Working with archetypes, recognizing what does it mean work with archetypes and what does it mean be integral with this, to let the archetype pervade all our bodies, to show up our shadows, our personal shadow, linked with their shadow, the shadow of the archetype. I guess that understand the relationship between the I and the self, the identification and be or identification is a process of entire life. In this growing up and in this waking up, now the way of growing up and waking up is the way that allow us to become more and more aware of what does it mean identification and not. This dialogue between the I and the self is something that is we have to recognize anytime. Is a never-ending story, you know. What I can say that the term that identify more the transpersonal is transcending and including. We have not to fight against the ego and the identification, but transcending and including through the awareness. Because we could say that any identification is a boundary. So what we do with boundary? We can see the boundary as a boundary that limits ourselves, or something we attach to, or something that indicate the beyond. So the identification of some quality of the ego, some aspect of personality, are doors that opens the way to self. You know, so that is depending of our degree of acceptance, of awareness of our identification. And the more we see and the more we accept, the more we pass through and we get the self. In this lesson, we should enter the shamanism. I am very linked with shamanism for one side. From the other side, I left shamanism. So there is a sort of ambivalence because I felt in love with the shamanism. I spent a lot of time from the 80s to the 20. I spent 20 years, 2 months per year in Brazil, having experience with the shamans. Then I could say that I transcended and included. And I see the shadow also of the shamanism. And what I am trying to transmit to you is something that purify the shamanism. To me, integral transpersonal vision is something that take the best of shamanism and go ahead. You know. So now in these 2 lessons, we try to understand a little this basis of shamanism. I prefer to call it primal tradition, you know, because shamanism is a term that we gave to this tradition. Shaman is a term from Siberia that means wise man in Siberia, but when we put this label to everything is linked with the original tradition, primal tradition. We call shamans the Native American, we call shamans the Brazilians, you call shamans the Africans, but we call them shaman, you know. And I will try to divide in 2 parts. In 10-15 minutes, I want to give to you a few points of shamanism, and I would like to have a short time to have a shamanic journey together. To my personal experience, shamanism or primary tradition means the contact with the source. Imagine a river, and a river that lose the contact with the source, as we did, as our society did. Getting in contact again to the source means to do something that is shamanism. And the source of this, of our human experience, is, for example, the understanding that everything is interconnected and understanding that there is a spiritual source in all of us. Everything comes from, we could say, spirit or self. Now in transpersonal vision we call it self, but we could call also spirit. Everything has a spiritual power. The life, the nature, the object, everything is pervaded by spiritual power. Whatever you call it, ashe, mana, or whatever. We do this. We try to enter this process of translearning. I say something about shamanism and you try to feel how it resonates inside you and which kind of insight comes, or vision maybe. Go in this way. When I see shamanism, I see the source, the power, spiritual power in everything. To get this spiritual power in everything, we need to go beyond the mind. We need to go beyond the separation. Our dual mind that is used to divide, to know, is not useful to get the shaman world, the spiritual power of everything. To get the spiritual power, we have to give up. We have to reach this emptiness and silence inside. When we enter this silence inside, we see that there are no boundaries. This is something evident. This is something normal. With closed eyes, you don't find any boundary. Or you can put the boundary where you want. So no boundary, and also no beginning and no end. What is happening inside you? Your feeling, emotion, thought, remembering, even your breath. Where does it start? Where does it begin? Go to your breath. Where is the beginning of the breath? Where is the beginning of your thought or of your sensation? Everything comes from that source, that spiritual source, we could say, that essence, that great spirit pervading everything. Everything is a manifestation of this. So this is one of the points of shamans. But we could say of any person that take the time to go beyond mind, stay in the emptiness and in contact with the silence inside. No boundary, everything is interconnected, everything is fostered by spiritual power. Next step, I can travel, I can journey, surfing this wave of consciousness. So, saying that everything has a spiritual power, we can say that everything is consciousness. And I can wave, I can surf the wave of consciousness. Shamans, anthropologist says, are able to journey through the worlds, the lower worlds, the upper worlds, and the middle worlds. Here it is, down Mother Earth, the matter, the heaviness, the sustain, the embracing, the confidence, the souls, and up the higher and the lighter world. Breath, air, sky, visions. The way down and the way up. Shamans recognize the way up and the way down, and walking and climbing the tree of life, the tree of the worlds, goes up and down. The deep realms where there are demons, shadows, but not only, where there is the instinctual force of the passion of the eros, and the nature, and goes up to the higher, upper world, where there is the agape, the spirit's, the lightness of light, falling down and pervading everything. And the middle world, the world of the element of nature. The best way to call it is Pachamama. That is not only the earth, it's the earth as planet, Pachamama, or the element of nature, the middle world. I feel that I am part of Mother Earth, water, air, vegetals, animals, fire, stones. I recognize that this middle world, I can travel into this middle world to understand the qualities and the teaching and the medicine. Everything is a medicine. There is a chant of shamans that say, Tudo cura, tudo sana, todo tiene medicina dentro. Means everything is healing. Everything get medicine inside. Journey in the middle worlds means journey in the worlds of the qualities of the nature. So shaman master this change of state of consciousness. I don't like the term altered state of consciousness. I would prefer expanded state of consciousness. You expand your consciousness because you go down, up, and around, and you feel that you are embraced of everything this, and you master this process to journey. And in this process of journey, of changing state of consciousness and places, you do as Native American says, you master the ability to walk all around the wheel of wisdom, and you understand how to pass through any position of the circle. You know how to be in contact with Mother Earth, Father Sky, vegetals, air, water, and fresh water and salt water and metal and fire and so and rainbow. These shaman does. And why not you? So, you are shaman. When you understand this, recognize this and take your time to master this. So everything has power, everything is interconnected. I can travel in different worlds, mastering my state of consciousness and dialoguing with spirits. What does it mean, dialoguing with spirits? Any element of nature, any manifestation of the down world and the upper world is inhabited by forces that are images, visions, emotions, qualities, mainly qualities. We said the heaviness of the mother, the capacity of sustain, accept, embrace, and so for any element we find qualities. Shamans call these spirits. Working with spirit of fire means working with quality of passion, eros, will, enthusiasm, and so working with the forces of the quality of air means to work with spirit of lightness, of freedom, for example. Working with water means working with the spirits of fluidity, creativity, pureness, and so working with the vegetals, life force means to work with spirits of naturalness, introspection, sensibility, and so here they are, the spirits, all around us, inside us, and we can master this dialogue with spirits. When you do this, you are a shaman. Okay, but I open my eyes also because I am in this journey of trans-learning. I am understanding what does it mean to be shaman, or what does anthropology say about shamans. And also I want to tell you another aspect. When I spoke about the shadow of shamanism, I want to say to you, we did, I guess, I feel, a good experience of what it means to be connected with the primordial tradition of shamanism. But imagine you are 2000 years ago. You do everything we did, but your mind organized this experience following a magic thinking. Think that spirits are spirits, and to get the spirit benevolent, you have to sacrifice a lamb or something, or you have to do any magic too. And so, all your way of thinking, the system of thinking is magic. Evolving, the system of thinking becomes mythological. Mythological means what worked in the past will work again. So we choose our stories, we choose the myth of the best people that worked in our community, and we get them as gods to follow them. Here are the rules of the community, the clan, the tribe. You have to follow that rules. If you follow that rules, and if you share with me the same rules or beliefs, you are friends. If not, you are enemy. So even though you have that capacity to work, to travel the world and work with spirits, your way of thinking is mythological. This happens still today. Most of the people of the ancient tradition of shaman still have a mythological way of thinking because they don't know that there is another way. We, Western evoluted people, we are in the stage of thinking rational, we know. This was the rational mind, was what separates us to that experience and help us to develop our sciences, our ethics, and so, and so, and so. But now, if you want to get back to the source, doesn't mean to go back to the mythological thinking. You go back to the source, to the mastery, what we said before, but using a beyond the mind thinking, a integral thinking, a intuitive thinking, something beyond the mind, the rational mind. We are, and you in this course, but we are in this challenge to go beyond our rational mind, integrating the power of before, of shamans, but using a more complex stage of thinking than shaman does. For this, we should, this is my personal vision, not only my personal, also, for example, Wilber, and so, we should get the contact with the source and with this capacity to manage and integrate this with the beyond the mind thinking, with the translearning that I call transcognition, with the way of thinking that is not rational but unitive, creative, metaphoric, letting the self think instead of the ego. Let the self think instead of identifications. If we do this, we master all this, we transcend and include all that power in something new. This is, to me, to my vision, and also the challenge of this course, for example. What we can do, this to me is the challenge of our times. Share in translearning, let flow, everything is coming. Let the self speak for you in your place. I don't know what I will say what is coming. Go.
There was such a sense of power and also heat coming in my back. I could for a moment really dissolve the pain that I have in my back and gaining back, like when you said you are shaman, right? And gaining back that capacity to do that for my body.
Yes, it is. We are. It's not so difficult. Trust in your power.
This is very close to my heart because I have been very deep in the shamanic path as well, but many years in a very traditional way. And I feel a lot of reflection of a lot of my own thought, that it's a tradition I'm very strongly a part of. However, that I also see the shadow element. A big part of my journey has been really understanding how to merge the dual with the non-dual. And I find it quite interesting to see how my teacher, as he has come out into the Western world, how he is actually starting to integrate that into his indigenous way. And I guess hearing you talk about it and seeing his progression there's a light of hope in me, of like Wilbur says, of the integrative way forward, of not choosing one path or the other, but that there can be a future in which all of these paths unite in some way. And so there's a hope, there's a light that is in me.
Yes, it is perfect. One challenge is, to me, we have not to put together the parts, they already are together. So we have to get this place, and not only through the experience, but also to how we use our mind. This is the reason why I am so focused on integral thinking, transcognition, and so. Because through transcognition, we recognize the unity of everything, and you don't put together. We see that they are together, and you let them work.
I could connect with the layers, or to move there, like to be able to like get in contact with these layers or the spirits, how shamanism calls it, and I could really like feel deeply how they are thinking, and how this, like there was one point I was like, okay, yeah, this is what their worldview is somehow. Like this is what a shamanic worldview is. Like I could really understand in my body this layer of shamanism.
Yeah,
you don't understand.
It's very important, embody. What I call translearning is exactly this, is to embody upper worlds. Okay, upper worlds. When I embody the upper world, when I embody the downward, the lower world, when I embody what does it mean having the forces of nature around working with me, this is done once forever. Then train myself in that. But I saw as if you change the picture and you see another world, then of course you have to train how to walk this world. But you saw how the world is, and you start your process, your training to act as if I am. Okay, I see the sky, the Mother Earth, and I can feel the spirit of the sky and the Mother Earth, and I know that when I say spirit, I am not saying something transcendental or esoteric. I am saying the quality of the spiritual force that pervade everything.
I can share something that I had just many images coming through me. The first one, and maybe that's a bit of the word shamanism kind of evokes. The first image was of a flying eagle, and then from the flying eagle, it turned into this snake head, and then from that, we're just transitioning images that I can't really remember. I think one that I remember was that you were there, Pierre, with a jacket, like a blue jacket with a pink shirt, and the blue jacket had stars on it, like glitter sort of shining. And you were there talking to someone. I couldn't see the other person, but the one with the blue jacket was you, for sure. So these were the images that stayed with me.
This is very interesting. I would say that you call it images, but I think that they were visions. Try to understand the difference between images and visions. Images are something that I create with the mind, the imagination. I imagine that my love will come, and so I will be happy forever, and so these are images of the mind. The visions is something that comes from the self, that appears. So I guess you had visions. You saw something. You didn't thought what to see, but that happens.
Yeah, I think I didn't want to think these things; they just came. So maybe they are.
So this is important also to have the words, knowing the difference between images and visions is the same, but to know the difference between ego and self. Images are phenomenology of the ego. and the mind. Vision is phenomenology of the self. First, having visions is per se a sign that I am in contact with the self. Having visions is healing per se, just having, no mind which kind of. This is the first. Then the medicine of visions come, and of course, also there are content with which I can work with them. But again, this content I have not tried to put into the mind and, what does it mean, this? Which symbol is, eagle, yes, and then you, Pierre, the jacket and the star, what is? Try to not enter this process of rationalization, but accept to let that visions flow as spirits. The visions, again, manifestation of spirits, manifestation of the self. First, they already heal you by appearing. Second, bringing contents that you can flow with, you can dialogue with, for example. If you are interested, you can dialogue with the Pierre there or the other images, visions that appears. Or you will see that some of them goes, some will stay, and will appear again and again. And maybe when you enter again this state, that visions changes. Because if you change, your world of visions also change. And you start creating a sort of word of these visions that give you teaching. This is as if you have a sort of movie that goes and show you the process of transformation of yourself. So starting to having this vision is very important, and mastering the vision is the shaman does. Mastering that vision with giving them importance, letting them flow, don't want to interpret, but let live and dialogue with as if they are spirits, means living beings, manifestation of living self.
I've studied shamanism, and there are a lot of shamans in the area where I live, and every time I say it's not for me because I don't see visions. I haven't ever had a vision. And when I do the journeys, I see colors, I see, but I never see, like, they try to say, now go down and see what you see, and a picture doesn't come to me. Like a sense comes to me, a feeling. And so I always quit. I stop it because I think I can't do it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I understand, but this is the importance to having maps. In the next lessons, we will see what I call the circuit of the experience, and also the integration of the different levels. Because you see, I have no visions, but I feel. You have to enter the door that is open, not try to open the door that is closed. If the door of vision is open, so you go to this door. Your open door is the feeling. Go to feeling, but being integral into the feeling and be aware, you will see that any feeling is a vision. You are not aware yet, but any feeling is a vision. If you stay in contact, persistency of contact, don't focus, try to see or something, or I don't see, stay in contact and open. You will see that any feeling is a vision, any vision is also movement. So we can understand how does having an integral experience means I enter having an integrated experience doesn't mean that I have to put together, having together done. Means be total where I am. Being total where I am, entering totally in the door is opening, I will see all the others.